Well everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus and compare it against the Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus and see which particular phone is a better one for you. Now what's very interesting is both these devices were very interesting in their own ways. I think the Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus is definitely the better phone in almost every single way you can think about it, but I do think the S22 Plus is still a very decent phone, and I'm still a massive fan of that particular device as well. So, for one, you can't really go wrong with either one of these phones, but if I am going to recommend one, it's going to be the Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus pretty much in every single way I can think about it. So, that right there is probably one thing to think about, but I would tell you if you want to buy a phone, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these devices, the Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus, which came out back in 2022 on the front, has a 6.6-inch dynamic AMOLED display. It's a very good panel, 1080p, it's 120Hz as well, and I do think it's an overall very good panel. I think Samsung did a really good job with this phone back in 2022, and I still think in a lot of ways it holds up very well as well. Can they do better than this? Obviously, absolutely they can do better than this, and I do think there's a lot of ways that they can go ahead and kind of improve this display, but they did kind of end up doing it with the S24 Plus. So in the S24 Plus, this phone has a little bit of a slimmer bezel around it. It's 6.7 inches, so slightly bigger than the S22 Plus. It's also a dynamic AMOLED display, which is always so good to have, and it's technically a dynamic LTPO, AMOLED. The thing here is there's two things. One, you're still maintaining that 120Hz, but you are getting a higher resolution panel. This panel is 1440p, which is excellent. That is a very good resolution to have inside of this, type of display. When you're getting these very big, massive displays, you definitely want it to have as high of a resolution as you can, and this phone is essentially kind of giving it to you here, which again is very cool. On top of that, you are also getting a much brighter panel. This panel gets 2600 nits of brightness versus the S22 Plus, which is 1750. So that right there is another very big reason why the S24 Plus is honestly that good of a phone and that good of an upgrade coming from the S22 Plus. So that right there is a pretty big difference. On top of that, you are getting a little bit of a difference when it comes down to the actual, I would say the body feeling of both these phones. The S22 Plus, you are getting that standard, flat, it was like a curved kind of side, but not really. And it was like a good feeling phone. It still feels very premium. The S24 Plus now, you are getting a little bit of a better feeling device as far as I can tell. So with this phone, it's completely flat-sided, which is actually very cool. Having a complete flat-sided phone is genuinely very amazing. And that right there is something that I actually love a lot about these types of devices. Having a flat-sided phone is probably going to make the phone feel a lot more modern. And that's something that when I look at these types of phones, is something I prefer and love a lot about these types of devices. So that right there is something that's very cool as well. And I genuinely am very excited and happy whenever we get those types of things because it makes me very happy when phones start feeling more modern. And when Samsung takes those types of initiatives to make their phones feel more premium, I'm always so happy about it because they end up keeping those things for a long time, which takes us to the back. This phone does have a frosted glass back, which genuinely feels and looks very good. Both these phones feel great, and that's something that I love about both these phones a lot too. Having these frosted glass backs is amazing. It makes the phone feel that much more premium, and I'm always so happy and excited whenever we continue to get these types of phones because the frosted glass back is one of my most favorite things. I'm so happy that we still maintain that kind of I/O or the feeling of the phones on these types of devices. Triple camera setups on the back of these phones too, which still look and feel very good. And overall, they're very good feeling phones. I'm a big, massive fan of both these devices. And I can definitely tell you in a lot of different ways, if I'm going to go and pick up a phone, I would definitely tell you both these phones are flagships. And I love the way they both feel and perform in so many different ways. On top of that, the cameras of these phones are also very excellent. There's a lot of overlap here from both these cameras. There's not really too many insane differences in terms of I would say the numbers on the screen. What I'll tell you is both these phones have the 50 megapixel main camera, the 10 megapixel telephoto, 12 megapixel ultra wide. They're getting the cameras in the front too, which you are getting a slightly higher megapixel 12 megapixel camera on the S24 Plus versus the 10 megapixel on the S22 Plus. What I can tell you is in terms of the average person using both these phones, you are probably not going to notice big, massive differences between these types of cameras. You're definitely going to be getting an overall better camera on the S24 Plus. This is without a doubt what's going to end up happening. And when you are getting the newer, more modern phones, you are going to be getting the overall better camera. There's not really ever going to be a time where you go and upgrade your phone and you get a worse camera That's really not going to happen, and that's not going to happen in this particular case either. So with both these phones, you're getting very, very good cameras, which is excellent. I will tell you though, from what I can tell you, the S24 Plus, from what Samsung said, they were making some pretty big improvements in the one area where a lot of Android phones kind of lack in, and that is within social media applications. So in applications like Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, those particular apps, these types of phones don't really rock too well in those particular scenarios. And I will tell you, over time, they definitely do get better. I will tell you, with these applications on, the S24 Plus, it definitely is an improvement, which is something we love to see. So that right there is a very big deal. And if you're wanting a phone that is a little bit better in that case, this is definitely going to be the one that you want to pick up. If you're always on social media apps, you definitely want to pick up a phone like the Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus without a doubt. Now, on top of that, in terms of the software longevity, this is probably going to be the biggest reason why you want to go ahead and buy something like the Galaxy S24 Plus. The S22 Plus is still going to be supported with software. It's still going to be here. There's not really going to be too many issues or problems you're going to be running into with this particular phone, which is something that we love to see. But I will tell you, in my opinion, with something like the S24 Plus, this is what I'll tell you. The S22 Plus is still here. It's not going anywhere, but it's probably going to be supported for like another 2 years. 3 years if we're lucky. The S24 Plus is going to be giving us almost 7 years of software and security updates. And that right there is a very big deal. And if you're wanting a phone that's going to be giving you more software and better software experiences, you're definitely going to be getting that on something like the Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus, or rather than something like the S22 Plus. So keep that in mind. Not the biggest deal in the world, but if it's something that is up your ladder, that might be one area you may want to spend some more time in if you want to buy a phone that is a little bit better. Now, moving on to the performance, this was also another big thing. The S22 Plus was giving you that Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset inside with 8GB of RAM. Now the S24 Plus is essentially going to be giving us a little bit of a better chipset. So with that Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset with 12GB of RAM. So this right there is another pretty big difference now, because we're now getting more RAM and we're also getting a way better chipset. So if you're me and if you're wanting to get the best phone you can get for the value, it's definitely going to be something like the S24 Plus. That is going to be the phone that's going to be giving you a much more solid experience. That is the phone that's going to be giving you the much more solid experience in almost every single way. If you are going to be wanting the phone that's going to be giving you that, it's definitely going to be the S24 Plus. That's going to be a much better performing phone in every single way. Now the S22 Plus is still perfectly fine. I think that phone is still I still think that phone is very good for a lot of different people and a lot of different use cases as well. And that's kind of what I'd recommend probably the average person to do. With the S22 Plus, this is a phone that I would say is still very good, but the 8 Gen 1 chipset had its own problems. It was thermal throttling not thermal throttling, it was just overheating, and the battery just wasn't doing that well. It really wasn't that great of a phone from that perspective either, and I'll definitely tell you, if you're wanting the better performing device, the S24 Plus is going to be the way better one for you. So to kind of sum up this entire video, what I will definitely tell you is, I like the S22 Plus. I think it's a very good phone, and really no matter what I've done with this particular phone, it's been very good in a lot of different ways. But I will tell you, with a phone like the S22, with the S24 Plus, if you're going to upgrade to that phone, you're definitely going to be getting a much better device in a majority of ways you can probably think about. I think this phone was excellent. I think it was a very, very good device. And when it first came out, it was very good. But I think the S24 Plus is by far the better one I'd recommend probably the average person to buy. And that one is definitely worth an upgrade. You can also always buy the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus and get a solid device from that one as well. So the choice is yours, but I definitely do think it's a good upgrade coming from the S22 Plus all the way up to the S24 Plus. You're getting a much more solid phone, and I would highly recommend that device without a doubt. So that pretty much covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.